Hey Clay, Andrea wanted me to let you know that she is on her way back. Her apps crashed. So I do apologize for that.
Okay. So how soon do you think we'll get started?
I am thinking 5 minutes. She didn't give me okay, well she's here now. Andrea?
Yeah, no, no. But I gotta go. I'm online right now. Okay, I'll call you later. Okay.
Like these
Forgive me,
backgrounds.
my app. Yeah, forgive me, my apps just crashed on me. So I'm working on it. I don't even see myself.
Now we see you.
Okay, there I go. My computer decided to give me a hard time starting this past weekend. After the holiday, I guess it ate too much turkey. That's the only thing I can think of. And what's so crazy, I added a new job and it's giving me all kinds of issues. So hopefully what I have lined up for the show doesn't give me issues either. So we're gonna try this again and see what happens. Do my other restream, then I got another program, didn't open either. So bear with me. I can't believe this. This has never happened before. I'm right without it. Oh, no, I think I could log into it. Oh, goodness. Can't believe this. My program is still opening, so bear with me. I've been fighting with this. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this. I can't function like this. I'm gonna take my computer in tomorrow. If I know the restream will. I think what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and have us record it. I'm not gonna worry about the streaming. Kayla, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start the show, but what I'm going to do is just record it and then stream it later.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I believe it looks like it's streaming. I don't know how. It is. So we are live. I don't know how. I'm just going to edit the show later on after the show.
Okay.
So let's start this again. So we are.
Hello. Okay. Hello and welcome to Where Are They Now with Kayla. The name of your host is Kayla. I'm Hi. And today we're going to be meeting with Clay Drayton today. He has been in the music business for 5 decades. He's worked with everyone from the Supremes to the Jackson Five. He has written for a number of major TV shows and films. Let's welcome Clay Drayton today.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm blessed.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. We're so happy to have you with us, and let's go ahead and dive right in. I know we started a little late, so I just want to thank you for your patience, regarding that. So let's start with, your background, where you grew up. Can you just tell us a little bit about, how your upbringing kind of contributed to your music style?
Yes, I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and that was a time where segregation was the norm. And so my family moved up north, as they called it, to Newark, New Jersey, where there are more opportunities and better jobs. So I went to school there. And basically, my family was poor and didn't have a whole lot. So my brother and I would um, just go and shine shoes and sell newspaper on the bridge just to earn some extra money because we weren't getting an allowance from our family, because from our parents, because they didn't have any money. And so with some of that money, what we would do, we would go to New York. We'd take the bus to New York City, and we'd go to the Apollo Theater. And there we would see the Motown Review. And the Motown Review was, the Temptations, the Supremes, Four Tops, Marvin Gaye, and Little Stevie Wonder
Wow.
at that time. And it was only $2.50. Can you get to that? And you're paying thousands of dollars to see Beyonce. It's ridiculous. And so so any kid can go and see major artists. Now you have to use your bank account
Yeah, that's
and
true.
take out a loan if you want to see some of these folks. So anyway, it was just so exciting to watch the Motown Review, and that stuck with me. I began to dream about it, and in fact, I wanted to be a part of Motown, and everybody did because Motown was the best thing out there, and all the artists everybody loved. So it stayed with me for years, and but I didn't realize that God had already given me a glimpse of my future.
Mm.
So I share that story in my book called Seize Your Success. I go into detail about that. Now, I went to a school called Arts High School, and that's for artists and musicians, and that's why I studied art, but I didn't study music, which is interesting.
Okay.
And I even got a scholarship to study ad design, even
Oh.
though so I was going in that direction. But going backwards a little bit, at age 15, I was at home and a friend of mine who was a drummer, he came over to my house and he brought over a band leader named Grady Knight. And Grady said to me, he said, man, our bass player quit and we need a bass player. Can you play the bass? I said, yes, I can. However, he didn't know that I didn't own a bass and I'd never played a bass. But because I was poor, I saw this as a great opportunity to get out of poverty.
Uh-huh.
So he said, great, I've got a bass. He brought the bass and he brought over his guitar player. And that was about 12:30 in the afternoon. And they're going to pick me up at 7 p.m. to go play that night. I had to learn how to play the bass and be able to learn their repertoire within that time. but I was so driven and wanted to do it. So at 7 o'clock when they came to pick me up, I was ready. My fingers were sore, but I was ready. And I made it through that weekend. And so they said, well, we'll give you another try. You sounded like you could do all right. And so I worked all that week practicing. And then the next weekend I was better. And they said, well, I think we're going to keep you. So that made me
Wow.
happy because I was making money now. And
Yeah.
and what's interesting is that because I was 15, we're playing in bars and
Oh,
clubs, and you had to be 21. So I got my mother's mascara and makeup, and try to put some mustache on and all those things, dark glasses, so I could, but they knew I was a kid. But anyway, fast forward from that point, I stayed with the bass for a while. And then when I became around 20 years old, I had a band, my own band, and I had a six-piece band. And we're playing in a lot of the events all around town. One fateful night, Dionne Warwick's sister, Dee Dee, who had some hits, she came in to that club I was playing in with my band. And she said, wow, you guys sound really good. Would you mind being my backup band? So I said, sure, we'll do it. So we started touring with her. And then she said, after the tour, she said, I can't take all of you guys on my next tour because it's going to cost me too much money. I'd rather pay for one person than to pay for six. So so she took my guitar player and they went on road. But I could have gotten better like most people, but I decided to get better. So I went and bought a guitar and I taught myself how to play the guitar, learn her repertoire. And when she came back off the tour, I called her up and said, Dee Dee, I've got something you got to hear. So she said, come over. So I came over to her place and I pulled out my guitar. She said, well, you don't play the guitar. I said, watch me. And so I played the guitar, all of her songs, and she started singing along with me. She said, Clay, you're hired and the other guy is fired. She said, I love your initiative, the fact that you work so hard and you learned my repertoire. So we started touring, and then one city changed everything. We went to Chicago, and when we got to Chicago, we hired a keyboard player named Mark, and Mark was doing some music for Mercury Records, and he said, "Well, Clay, you're going to be here 2 weeks. Why stay in the hotel? Why don't you just come with me and hang out while I do the music at Mercury Records?" So I did. And then afterwards, he said, well, where are you going after this? I said, well, we're going to be going to Africa. He said, well, I'm moving my family to California. So if you're ever in California, give me a call. I said, oh, sure, right. So we go and we're working on the tour. And during the rehearsals, I got a call from Dee Dee. She said, Clay, the tour's been canceled. We're going to go to Las Vegas instead, and we're going to be there for 6 weeks. So I said, sure, I've never been to Vegas. So we get to Vegas, we do 3 weeks. She said, we got a week off. I want to go see my sister, Dionne, who lives in Bel Air, California. I said, sure, I'm going to go with you because I've never been to California. So I get to California, and one morning I woke up and I looked outside and the sky was so blue. I said, I'm not going back to New Jersey. When we're done, I'm going to get an apartment in California.
No.
And that's just what I did. I finished the next 3 weeks and I got an apartment in Hollywood, and it was just about a block away from Hollywood Boulevard, where all the girls were and everything, and the stars. I said, I'm going to be there. So I'm walking outside of my apartment with my keys for the first time. And as soon as I open the door and walk onto the street, I hear someone say, Clay. Now that's like somebody calling you, and you came where I'm living and someone called you by name. You're going, well, who's going to know me?
Yeah.
It was Mark. who had said, if you're ever in California, give me a call. Now,
Wow.
check this out. If he had driven 5 miles per hour faster, he would have missed me. If I had taken 1 second more to walk out of my door, he would have missed me. If he
Wow.
had driven 1 block more, he would have missed me. If he had looked to the right instead of the left, he wouldn't have seen me. He could have looked up at me and said, that looks like Clay, but Clay's in Africa. But he
Wow.
said, Clay. I mean, this was a divine appointment. You couldn't
Yeah.
have made that happen if you tried.
Yeah.
And it was like, boom, it just perfect. So he said, Clay, are you here now? I said, yeah, I just got my apartment. He said, listen, I'm producing Marvin Gaye and Diana Ross for Motown. Would you like to write for Motown? I said, I don't know, man. I'll think about that one. I
Uh-huh.
said, now check this out. He could have said, Clay, do you have any work for me? Because it's been hard in California. But he said, I've got work for you. So people were giving away their firstborn to be a part of Motown. And here I was invited. And not only that, I had wanted to be a part of Motown when I was 13 years old. And here I was around 21 years old and being asked to write for Motown. Now,
Wow.
now there's more to it, because then after I got signed, I couldn't find Mark, and he never returned my call. And I'm going, what? So I would go to Motown, and I'd sit up in the office building in that little part where the people would walk in. I'd see Smokey Robinson come in, the Miracles come in. I see Stevie Walker Wonder come in. He couldn't see me, but I could see you here. And all of these folks. And I'm wanting to go behind that door that everybody went in, because every time that door opened, it was like the sun began to shine so bright, and they closed the door. And I sat there for weeks, hoping that somebody would see me and say something. And then finally one day, a producer, one of the hit producers named Hal Davis, he was coming by. He said, hi, what's your name? I said, my name is Clay. He said, hey, you got any hits? I said, yeah. He said, come with me. I remembered, if you say yes, like I did about can you play the bass, that opportunities open up for you.
Okay.
So he said, come with me. So he came in, he opened that door, and the sun just shone. It was like gold coming in. And I could see a lot of the Motown people as I'm walking past going into his office. I get into his office, and he says, sit down. So I sat on his piano bench, and he says, all right, play. And I took out my guitar and started playing. And the first song, he said, wow, that's a hit. You got any more? I kept on playing. He said, great. And he became my mentor. Now, look, I could have flopped. I could have been a nothing. I could have just gone back home instead of waiting at Motown, knowing no one. Because remember, I was not from California, and I had nobody to talk to. And but I stayed there, and that's a good lesson for most people who get impatient. You've got to stay and wait it out. And of course, like I said, I could have flopped, but I ended up writing for the Jackson 5 several songs, and you see gold records behind me.
Yes,
Diana Ross on Love Hangover by Diana Ross was my first gold record. That's that little one back there.
Oh my gosh.
And the big one too, the single and the album. And to be able to, I was Janet Jackson's first producer. I produced Jermaine. And I worked on a lot of the Motown artists, the Supremes and people like that. And hung out, went to the Jacksons' home. And Janet invited me to come when she was filming for Good Times. And the family invited me to come. And so I sat there with them. So I became a part of the family. And it was good. So that's how I actually got in the record industry. It was
Mhm.
it was God showing me my future when we went to the Apollo Theater and we're watching the Motown artists. And little did I know they'd become some of my friends.
Oh my God, that's so incredible. Like it's like almost like a little circle. So you went from Jacksonville to New York, Las Vegas, California. So like it just everything literally worked out in your favor together. Like every step was indicative of, where you were actually ending, where you were actually going to end up and have a lifelong career. So that's incredible.
From
Um,
Jacksonville to the
mhm.
Jackson Five.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. Well, I do want to get a chance for some of us to hear those incredible timeless records. So let's go ahead and play Love Hangover with Diana Ross.
Okay. It's not sounding good, guys.
Oh, well, yeah, it's not sounding good at all.
It's not coming across well, guys.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and re-edit them in at a later time.
Good, good.
I was like holding on to my ears for dear life. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, it was pretty
That
bad.
that always happens.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is with that type of communication going through a phone or anything. It
Mhm.
it just doesn't play well.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead. I do want to know what Andrea said she wanted to apologize for her technical issues. But I do want to know what kind of inspired that song? Where did it come from?
Okay, that's an interesting story. Number one is that it was around 12 midnight. I got a call from Hal Davis, of whom was the first guy that started me with Motown. And he said I was in the bed sleeping. He said, "Clay, I need you to come to the studio because we got this song we want to do, and I need you to do the music on it." I said, "Hal, I'm in the bed and I'm asleep." Call somebody else. Now, this is crazy because he was the one that picked me up off the doorsteps, if you will. And here I am, acting grand now, too tired to go. I got
Yeah.
too much success. So I said, no, man, get somebody else. And he kept saying, Clay, look, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I said, pal. So finally I said, all right, I'll get up. So I got out of the bed and I headed to the studio. And this wasn't at Motown. It was one that was on Santa Monica Boulevard. Because whenever we did demos, sometimes we wouldn't do those at Motown. We'd do them at another studio. So I get there and Marilyn McLeod and Pam Sawyer, and Pam has written a lot of lyrics, a lot of songs for Motown, and Pam is her co-writer. And it was just her and the piano, and they were playing it. And they said, Clay, Hal said, Clay, I need you to do your magic on this. I said, all right. So they had Joe Sample in there, James on the keyboards, and he died recently. God rest his soul. James Gabson on drums, all the good guys. And so I got the music together and we played it, and everything sounded great. We all went home around 3 in the morning or later.
It's really like that then, those early morning sessions.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
A lot of them. So so the next day I get a call. Hal said, Clay, hey man. And he's all excited. He said, I played this for the folks at A&R. I played it for Suzanne DePass at Motown. And she said, this would be a great song for Diana Ross. I said, okay, great. He said, by the way, can you do music arrangements for records? I said, yes. Now, I was going to say yes.
I love that.
However, I did not study music.
Okay, yeah.
None of it. And so here's what happens. I take the project, and that day and all that night, I'm working on this thing, and the demons begin to talk. What is wrong with you? You don't do music arrange. You don't do this, and you can't do that. And this is Berry Gordy's girlfriend, and they're gonna run you out of Motown, and you're not gonna be able to work in the industry anymore, no matter what. And all of that was just going through my head as I'm working on this music for that song. Wow. And you got to shut out those demons and just believe that you can do it. And so the next morning, I get this. I go to the studio. The session time was from 10 a.m. and usually it was a 3-hour session. So I get there and I had the music all ready to go. And at 10:30, when everybody had been rehearsing, we had been rehearsing over it, I counted off 1, 2, 3, 4, and boom, 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 boom. And it sounded great.
Oh my gosh.
It sounded great. Everybody loved it. So there's more to it. We go inside. I go inside the control room, and me and Hal are talking and we're listening. And then he said, Clay, can you think of something we can do that will make this song even more special? And at that time, disco was just starting to come in. I said, we can be in the forefront of this, but this song is not fast. It's a medium tempo song. So what we're going to have to do is right in the middle of the song, we're going to go bop, 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 da, da, ba, and then double time. Instead of boom, 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 you went boom, 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 and double time. And so I counted it off. I told the drummer what we're going to do. And then I counted it off and started off slow. And then at that certain point at the B section, I said, do it. And he did, and the drummer did the pickup. Bum, 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 ba, da, da, ba. And then we played for 12 minutes, one take, and that's what you hear on the radio, on the record.
What in the world?
It became her biggest hit and my
Wow.
first gold record. It was over 1 million seller.
Okay, can I?
Now, suppose I had said no when
That's
he
what
asked
I'm
me.
saying.
What if he didn't say, Clay, come on, please, please? What if I just say, I'm not going, and hung up the phone?
Wow. Yes. Like it's okay. So I want to ask you something. So I have a background in music, and so music theory for me was like really, it was confusing sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. And so for you, like, and I'm like, when you're saying that you don't have a background in music per se, and like I'm just hearing yes, 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 and I'm just like, okay, like this, the confidence here is like, it's like this is crazy. And then like, on top of that, you get a gold record. You know what I mean? Like where does it come from? Like, like how did you, like, where did you get your understanding of, just how the music should go, how it should flow together, just melodies, tunes, just everything. Where does that come from? Especially,
It's a gift of God. Gift
wow.
from God. Because think about this. Songs are only thoughts that
Mm-hmm.
are set to music. Music is only thoughts that you sit down and play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. They're only thoughts. And most people don't realize that. Now, I teach a songwriting course online. I have over 4,000 students online taking my songwriting course. I taught at the Songwriting School of Los Angeles. And what I always told them is that songwriting, everybody can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they're saying, no, I can't,
Mm.
instead of them saying, yes, I can. When
Oh
you
wow.
say no, then everything inside you goes to sleep and says, okay, we don't have to do anything. But when
Uh-huh.
you say yes, then everything inside you starts to figure out how to do this.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
think, more people would have greater success at various things if they start saying yes and put their neck out. People don't
Wow.
are not willing to. I took a chance on not being able to write for Motown or anybody else by saying yes to that.
Mm.
Now, um, you see, things can always take a turn for better or for worse, like I did with Dee
Mm-hmm.
Dee, bitter to better. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's what can happen. And it happens in life because so what happened was this with that particular song. Now, Motown would not put a hit song out as a single. They leave it on the album to sell the album.
Mm.
Okay, that's smart.
Yes, it
That's
is.
smart. But it can backfire like
Okay.
this did. So this song is burning up on radio. They're just playing it like mad. They're not playing the single. They're
Mm.
playing that song, which was on the album, Love Hangover. I
Mm-hmm.
get a call from Mark Gordon, who was the manager of the Fifth Dimension. I don't know if you know who they are. The Fifth Dimension were really big, but they had a bigger white audience than they had black audience. And
Okay.
so they were really, you ever heard of Malcolm McCool, and Billy Davis Jr.? They were the Fifth Dimension. That group, they were doing, they had a lot of hits. So their manager called me. He said, Clay, he said, now you did the music for that song, right? I said, yeah. He said, well, Berry Gordy's not going to release it as a single. He said, so I want you to come over and I want you to re-record the song, and I'm going to have the Fifth Dimensions to sing on that song. I said, sure. So I came over and I got all the same guys who played on that song, and we did it. And that record was out in 2 weeks and playing. That's unheard of.
Yes.
They wanted to capitalize on this thing and do it quick. So then what happened is that I get a call. Okay, so it's playing on the radio. They played the Love Hangover version of Diana Ross, and then they played the Fifth Dimension version. And this kept going on and on and on. And then I get a call, and it was from someone I'd never spoken to. She said, "Hi, Clay, this is Mr. Gordy's secretary, and he'd like to have a meeting with you." And I'm going, whoa. So I get there, and and I walk into this room, and it's just him and a security guard.
Wow.
And so, yeah. And so I walked in, and he said, "Hi, are you Clay?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I'm Mr. Gordy." I said, "Hi." I'd never met him. And up until this point, I was not happy with Motown. I'd been with them for a little while, but I didn't like what was going on, you know, the favoritism and all this stuff, the politics. And so here I'm in my early 20s, and I'm cocky because I'm doing well as a writer. And so he says, "So let's cut to the chase. Why did you put Dinah's song on the fifth?" That's his exact words. I said, "Well, now with my attitude," but I was kind, I was nice. I said, "I'm only signed to Motown as a songwriter. I'm not signed as an arranger or a producer or a musician. So I can play, produce, and arrange for anyone." He said, "Okay, meeting's over." Just like that, meeting's over. So I walk out, and when I leave, then now both records are playing, right? Fifth Dimension and Diana Ross, they're both playing, and you can find that record in all the record stores, and you can hear it on all the radio stations. But after that meeting, you couldn't hear it on the radio, and you couldn't find it in the record stores. That's called power.
Yes, it is. What?
So I was doing, I went from exhilaration to, whoa boy, look at this. Yeah. But watch this. Then it turns another corner. Okay. Not long, because I wasn't happy with Motown. I was a good friend with the program director of the biggest R&B station in town.
Okay.
And he called me up. He said, "Clay, I have a R&B format on Sunday and then a gospel format. So my gospel's in the morning, but I need a bridge between my gospel and my R&B programming. So I need you to write a song that'll work between the two." I said, "Okay." So I got some folks together. I wrote the song, and we went and recorded it. And then he was playing it. He said, "Clay, this works really good." So it's just playing and playing and playing every Sunday. Then I get a call. "Hi, Clay, this is Mr. Gordy's secretary. He'd like to meet with you." So I get in there, and all the producers are in there, and they're having this meeting where all the producers were playing their songs that they want to have released on the various Motown artists. And after a few were playing, he stopped and he put on this song, and I'm listening to him say, "Wait a minute, that's my song that I wrote for the radio station. How did he get it?" And when he got done playing it, he said, "This song was written by one of my best songwriters. Some of you may know him. He's Clay Drayton." And
Aww.
this is the way we need to be sounded.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing.
Then I get a call the next day. Hi, Clay, this is Mr. Cody's secretary. He wants you to come to his mansion tomorrow. So I could show up, I get there, and this beautiful mansion, bigger than the Beverly Hillbillies. I mean, just really, really nice. And he's in there. He's got a lot of folks in. He's in his game room, and everybody's having fun. And he said, Clay, the reason I want you to come over is because, Jermaine married my daughter, Hazel, and I want to, I need to get a hit on Jermaine. And you already know Jermaine, you guys have worked together. And yeah, we used to hang out. So yeah, he said, so I want you to co-produce the album with him. Wow. So I went from good to bad to good.
Wow.
All with the same person.
Oh my goodness. You know what? It's funny you say that because I was just reading something the other day and it was just like nothing bad happens to you, it happens for you. And you could have taken that like you were saying, even from, you were saying bitter to better and how, your friend, the guitarist, they were taken on the tour and you weren't, as just like, you could have let all of those little obstacles, they could have like stopped you completely, and, you could have just stayed and ruminated on, your upbringing or how hard it was. It's just so many things that could have prevented you from literally leaving a legacy that will revolutionize generations to come.
Listen to this. My son, see, it passed when you said generations. You ever heard of Childish Gambino?
Oh, yes.
My son is the music director and bass player for him. And he's played on a whole lot of other folks' album, including Michael Jackson's last album.
Oh,
you see that?
See, I just like that, you know what I mean? Like, what if you would have said no? Like, you know what I mean? What if, feeling insecure and like, oh, I've not done this, or but you said yes. And I'm just like, I'm kind of like internalizing that. And I think that is a lesson for all of us to take into consideration. Sometimes it's just okay, just take that risk. Just go for it sometimes. So that's
on my book. Check this out. It says fearless, and then at the bottom it says fierce, fearless, and failure. You have to fail in order to succeed.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Which is just what you were just saying. The obstacles are not there to hurt you. They're there to help you.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I love that. Like, I honestly, like, I really need to hear that today. Like, cause like, it's just, I think just living in our world, doesn't matter where you are, whether you do or whether you live in a mansion or whether you don't, like everybody has some sort of obstacle. And I think for creatives especially, it's just it's really important just to keep pouring out. And it's just like, you don't need to seek validation from other people. Like, when you're working hard and you're confident in your skill set, which I like throughout your entire story, and you didn't say, you said cocky, but I'm just like, no, that's a level of confidence. That's something that, you need, especially to make it in such a competitive industry. So
you do. I say this, and I thought about this. This is a quote from my book. It says, failure is just a snack for those who are hungry for success. It's feeding time. Are you hungry?
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is such an amazing way to look at it, because it's like, I think sometimes, you think it's like the end all be all, if somebody says no, and it's just like, man, but it's just like, they're just one person out of like billions of people, just keep moving, keep pushing forward. Like, so I appreciate that. Where can we find your book, by the way?
Amazon, of course. It's called
Yeah.
Seize Your Success.
Seize your success, guys.
Seize your
Please.
success.
I am going to definitely go and get this book because I need to read it. I love it. Wow. So, you know what? As far as your music career, like, now, like, what do you I mean, because you've made some really just like huge imprints, within the industry. So, as you're getting older and your circle might
Older,
oh, not in a bad way. You
golder.
go oh, I get golder. I like that. As you get older, and circles change, tastes change, that's just a part of life, is just change. How have you seen a shift in your music, or has there been a shift in your music?
Yes, there really has been a shift of because of free downloading, the money that we should be making in the record industry, we can no longer make because, when you go to streaming, yeah, iTunes and Spotify and all of those are not our friends, songwriters, because I got a check more than once for 50 cents. Okay. And I have a
Wow.
lot of songs I've written on. And I got to the point where, in fact, I saw something on the internet. Some guy said, if you pay for music, you're stupid. I said, I'd like to see you go to your job and work all week or all your life. And then when it comes time to get your pension, then they say, well, I'm sorry, we can't give it to you. You say, well, why? Because somebody else wanted it. And
Uh-uh.
so you gave it to them? Yeah, we gave it to them. You see, when Napster was taking all of our money, what happened was they said, we'll settle out of court. Okay, so let's say he took 500 million out from the record industry and settled for 250 million. That's like, okay, I go to the bank, rob the bank for $1 million, and then when you get caught, say, I want to settle out of court and I'm just going to give back 500, half of it. Well, it was never your money in the first place.
Yeah.
So, with that kind of stuff that's going on, my goal now is movies, TV, and commercials because they have to pay. They are regulated. The record industry is not regulated by the government or the FCC, should I say.
Wow.
And so in order to play our songs, they have to pay us. So I've been contacting people who are music supervisors who deal with songs for movies, TV, and commercials, because then that way you're going to get paid. It's so unfortunate,
Yeah.
but yeah,
'Cause
that's
it's
the
just
way
like,
that's the way it is
yeah,
now.
it's like a lot of time, sweat, just like hours of racking your brain, you know what I mean? It's just, it just seems like, you would like to see the fruits of your labor, you know what I mean? Enjoy those fruit. So what is the best way that your audience can support you? Like, through what mediums?
Well, they can take my songwriting course. It's on Udemy, udemy.com. They could do that. Um, you know, and once again, the record industry is not, can't be trusted to pay you. And so, buy my book and learn how to become successful in whatever you may want to do. Now, the reason I have a lion on the front is because a lion may be called the king of the jungle, but he doesn't catch his prey all the time. Only about 50% or 40% of the time. And there's no gazelle, deer, or cheetah that's going to walk up to a lion and say, "Here, I'm your dinner. Eat me." That's
Yeah, no.
not going to happen.
No.
If he's going to eat, he's going to have to run, and miss this opportunity and miss opportunity. But he has to keep running if he's going to eat. So, in order to seize his success, he has to keep on going no matter what.
Okay.
And so that's what this is all about. It's about seizing the success that in front of you. Let me put it this way. A gazelle, a cheetah, a deer can walk up close within a matter of maybe 4 or 5 feet to a lion.
Okay.
And a lion will not do anything. Why? Either the lion's asleep or he's not hungry. Uh-oh. Now, therein is the problem with many of our people today. They're either, when great opportunities come around, they're either asleep or they're not hungry enough.
Yep.
And it's so unfortunate that people can come from all over the world, Mexico and whatever, and have absolutely nothing. And they'll be on the corners working hard to sell. They don't have their hands out. They have tacos and burritos selling.
Yes.
And the black folks, unfortunately, will be stealing from each other, of course, or standing there with their hands out. And this is ridiculous, and it goes back to the lion. The opportunity is there, but they're either asleep or they're not hungry.
Can I ask you this? Because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt you're really well versed in just the industry, how it works, the people that move within that community. Do you think by chance that the music that people put out today, especially when it comes to hip hop culture, do you think any of that music has a negative impact on especially like the Black community's ability to kind of like uplift each other? I mean,
yeah, a lot of times we've heard people say, the rappers are making females, painting females as hoes and all that kind of stuff, and they shouldn't be doing that. My wife and I were at a movie theater watching a first run movie, and a person was actually singing or rapping, and it was a female. And she was saying all of these things about her body part and what she can do with it. So the girls today have become worse, because in order to promote their songs, they go out and they're wearing not only are the words bad, but I don't watch the Grammys anymore because it becomes a strip show, because they're up there wearing nothing. And the way they move their bodies. Now think about this. Whitney Houston, she did not move, she not dance, but she just sang you to death.
Oh my God.
Aretha Franklin did not dance. She kept her clothes on, and huge singer. Gladys Knight. So you got a culture of great singers that they could have looked up to and said, I want to be like them. But they saw what some girls who were actually strippers, who have decided to sell their product, and the video vixens, as they call them, who come on, and they're not wearing anything. So the guys, you can't blame the guys anymore, because the girls are being what the guys call them, and it's so unfortunate. And the thing is if there's a female that wants to make it, if she gets pregnant, that ends her career. A guy can do it, and his career keeps going on. He's on top of the world. So women, my call is that women ought, women ought to learn how to be, females ought to learn how to become women, ought to learn how to be really good women and care about what they are appearing as. I mean, there's so many who are influencers, but I had to get off of TikTok because, you know, by the time it turns 6 or 7 o'clock, it turns into a strip show. It's like,
Yes. It's serious. You have to guard your eyes. You have to guard your eyes and ears. And that's it's crazy, but like it's even crept into some of the music and media for little kids too. So I have to watch, because I have a daughter. So you have to monitor. And just from an outsider looking in, I think that and especially being a lover of Motown, you watch the wholesome, that wholesomeness, it kind of has disappeared over the years. And it'd be great if, we kind of tap back into that, because that's where the real musicality was, that's where the heart and the soul of just life was. You wrote about everyday struggles, and that's important. I mean, because not everybody is stripping or doing anything else like that, you know what I mean? So it's just from again, it's from an outsider looking in, I just want to say thank you, for the legacy that you and my other ancestors have left behind. Because for those of us who would like to kind of like preserve that, it's a wonderful, wonderful way to, it's a wonderful just an outlet for us. I see kids recreating Motown at the R&B records we just the R&B Hall of Fame we just had. You had younger children singing those same hits that were released back in the day. So I just really want to thank you for that, and for just all the wonderful, colorful music you've left for us to listen to. So yeah. I do want to, before we wrap up, I want to ask, one thing, one piece of advice you might have for someone who is, just trying to maybe do music or something else that's really they're really passionate about. What's your piece of advice for them?
Okay. Opportunities are everywhere. And oftentimes folks want to start at the top. When in actuality, it's better to start at the bottom so you learn everything about it. So when so you'll rise to the top based upon your knowledge and what you're able to do. I heard recently a guy said, what people don't realize is that your social security number, there's a way of finding out if you were finding out if you the type of person you are. And worse than that, they don't need that. There's Facebook. And you need to stop airing your dirty laundry on Facebook, and you'll be okay. But let me say this before I forget. This is important. I have a song, a Christmas song that I wrote myself, my wife, and a friend of mine, Antoine Dunn, who's also a singer-songwriter producer. And Johnny Patrick sings the lead on, him and his family. It's a cute, really nice song for Christmas. And it says, give the gift of love at Christmas time.
Oh my God.
And it talks about, all of the getting ready for Christmas and everything, but it also talks about feeding the homeless, and also talks about taking care of the widows so they won't be home by themselves for Christmas. So this is my new one. This is my that we're just releasing, and so we want to make that available. And I have a song You're familiar with American Idol, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
There's a song that I wrote that is going to be on American Idol next season. It's called Never Will Give Up. That sounds like me, huh?
Yes. Oh my
And
gosh, amazing.
it's gonna be sung during the time that they're talking about their journey, about their dog died, their mother got sick, and all the problems that they went through in order to get to American Idol. And so uh, uh, along with that, when they're talking about, you hear, never will give up, never will give up. And I actually wrote this song. Thank God for my wife. She's over this on the side of me, trying to get me to remember stuff. Don't forget this. But
Hi.
on I
Hello, how are
okay,
you doing?
I and she's my co-writer on a lot of my songs. Um,
Wow.
and so for Never Will Give Up, when I was teaching at the Songwriting School of Los Angeles, I wanted to write a song that will make them keep going no matter what.
Mm.
And so I just had a chorus. Never will give up, never will give up until I reach my dream. I never will give up. And so I would play it and I'd have them to sing it at the end of every class.
Mhm.
But I only had a chorus. And then when I heard that they were actually just before they were looking for a song like that, I had actually completed it and also had recorded it, but it was just in my computer. And
Yeah.
so when I heard about it, I sent it and they said, wow, this is really good because it talks all about what they go through. Now back to the question you're asking me.
No, that's fine. We can take a quick
Never
book
will
commercial
give
break.
up.
Yes. Yes.
It
That's
is, it
powerful.
is, the book is Seize Your Success, and which talk about keep on going. And the song says, never will give up.
Mm.
That means no matter what, I got to keep going. It is so important because there are going to be obstacles, period.
Mhm.
That's the name of the game. If you're playing football, you can't complain about the other team trying to keep you from scoring.
No.
That's what makes the game exciting,
Mm-hmm.
you
It's the
know,
fight.
and yeah, they keep going. They keep
Mm-hmm.
getting tackled, they keep getting knocked down, but they keep getting up and they keep on going. And the one who decides I'm gonna win no matter what, they end up playing in the Super Bowl.
Yep. Yep.
And if you want to play in the Super Bowl of life, you
Yeah.
can never give up. I gotta write that now. If you want to play in the Super Bowl of life, you can never give up. You
Yeah.
you gotta take the beatings. You gotta take all of the problems that happen to you because they only make you stronger.
Ooh, that's a word. I'm telling you. That's a word right there. It is. It is. It's a word.
And I'm a
Yeah.
preacher, so you know.
Yes. Yes, I'm telling you. Yeah, it's just I think, music it's healing. And
Yeah,
it'll push you when really no medication, no lifestyle change, it'll encourage you in ways that nothing else can.
yeah.
So,
One question you asked me, you were going to say, which is important. You asked me about who my influences were. Hal Davis, because when I was sitting in that office and everybody passed me by, he said, "You got any hits?" He became my mentor, and I got all of those gold records because he was, right there saying, "Clay, I need a song for this." Frank Wilson, who was one of the biggest record producers out there, and
mm,
he was a great brother. He passed a few years ago. In fact, Hal did too. But Frank Wilson was an incredible singer and songwriter and producer. But he was a best friend because he was a good Christian brother. And he ended up starting a church. He was the senior pastor. I was his assistant. We met at Motown, and here we were in church working together. And God had put us together, you know. And of course, then E.V. Hill, Pastor E.V. Hill, who was known as one of the greatest preachers there. He's gone too. But when I started Motown and I'm writing, and people were saying, well, now you're Christian, you shouldn't be writing secular songs. So I went to the pastor. I said, should I get out of the industry? He says, Clay, you are there because God needs light in darkness.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
The way I got to church when I was a bad boy. I was still at Motown and I was trying to get the receptionist in bed. And she said, but I'm going to church. I said, the heck with church. What about tonight? She wrote down the address and I didn't take it. I left. Sunday morning, when I got up, I looked on my dresser and there was the address of the church. And she had not come to my house and I did not pick it up. I said, oh, well, they probably have some pretty girls there. And so I get to the church, I look in the choir and I see the girls. I said, oh my, I'm gonna get them all. You know, I had all these gold records. I was saying, yeah, no problem. I got everything free. Everything was free. And God got me that day. The pastor said, have you ever knowingly and willingly accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and made that profession before men? His exact words. I had been in church. I had never done that, but I accept Jesus that day and God turned everything around. And I was a very mean, bad, egotistic person. And God had a tremendous work that he wanted to do in me. And I was, my first marriage, I was awful, but now I've been married. December 15th will be 44 years.
Amen to that.
And I've not raised I physically abused my first wife and my girlfriend. When I got here, I dislocated her shoulder. I was bad. And I lied and I said, why am I lying? I couldn't stop lying. But after Jesus, now here it is, I'm married, going on 44 years, and I've never hit my wife one time.
It's more than music. Like it's like you had a complete 180. Like your whole life wow.
And I can still write good songs.
Yes. Would you say your songs are better now after your commitment?
They're better. They're much, much better because I have a different lifestyle. And I watch what my words are saying. I can't say just anything. I can't talk about women in a bad way. And so it's because of the Lord that I'm able to write. My wife just wrote on the board, back to Euphoria. I wrote a song with a guy named Bluetooth, a young producer, and he did No Air on Jordan Sparks. You remember that?
Oh, and on repeat, yes.
So he and I met at a writer's event, and we connected, and so we said let's write. And so we did, and the song is called Euphoria, and that was on the charts this year on the indie charts, and it made, I believe, up to number 4. So, you know, you had asked, do I write with other people? Yeah, and other producers, yeah, because very seldom would you see one name on a song except Stevie Wonder, but the rest of us, it's and he hasn't had a hit in a long time. But most songs are written, if not 99.999% are written by more than one person.
I didn't know that. I'm thank you for sharing that.
Now watch. Now look at your records. Look at those songs, and you're gonna see 5 to 7 writers on them. Why? When you only need 2 or 3 at the most. Here's
Yeah.
why. They'll sample one of our songs. Kanye West sampled one of mine. They'll sample your songs. And
Wow.
then that would mean, say, if it's just you and I wrote this song, that would mean it's 50-50, right?
Uh-huh.
50% each. Now, so this other guy samples our song. So that would make it 33 and a third each. Makes
Uh-huh.
sense. However, then he'll get Little Man and Shorty and bro over there. And they said, well, hey man, you want to I'm gonna put your name on a record. You can't get paid, but you get all the glory. And so now there's 6 people on our song,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not paying them, but all of that money, you and I are gonna get a 6 each, and he's gonna get 4, more, a whole lot more than us, and it's our song. That's what's going on today.
Oh. Ooh, okay. That's a tricky business. That can be
There are
tricky.
sharks. Okay, there are sharks in the water in the
Uh-huh.
recording business. There are a lot of sharks, and you got to be careful. Even people will oftentimes sign blind. Oh, I want this record deal. So they'll go ahead and sign without an attorney. Ask Toni Braxton if that's a good idea. No, because she said, "Hey,
Mm.
where's all my money? I got all these hits." So she got an attorney, and then he said, "Well, most of your money is going to L.A. Reid and Babyface." And then they on an interview, you probably can see it on YouTube. They
Uh-huh.
asked him, say, Babyface, would you have signed that contract that you gave Toni Braxton? He said, nope. L.A. Reid, would you have signed that contract that you gave Toni Braxton? No. Then why would you do that to a sister?
Because they unethical.
So
Oh
if my
no.
word, if you're gonna be a singer and you want to try
Uh-huh.
to get out there, if you sign a contract, you better get an attorney, and
Mm.
you better get an attorney to look over the contracts that your attorney drew up for you. Because
Wow.
I was a victim of that one.
Oh
I
wow.
said, Barry Gordy said, I want you to sign as a producer with us. I said, okay, so I got a good attorney
Mm-hmm.
from Wilshire Boulevard, a Jewish guy. And that's supposed to be, you're gonna get all your money now. So here I am, and I'm working on Jermaine's album, and
Uh-huh.
then Barry Gordy calls me. He said, Clay, he said, I love you, I love the album, everything's coming out great, but you need to call your attorney. He's asking for too much money. And I say to myself, are you kidding me? So I call my attorney. He said, Clay, the biggest record mogul in the world has time to call you? Oh man, you're worth more than you think. You'd say this, you'd believe it. So I went back to work, and we're working on the album. A few more days later, Barry Gordy calls. Jermaine said, Mr. Gordy's on the phone, Clay. I said, hey, how you doing? He said, great. He said, look, Clay, man. He said, your attorney's asking for too much money. I said, all right. So I called him again. He said, Clay, I got you. I got this. Okay. A few days later, I go to call Jermaine, and the phone number has changed. That means the deal is off.
Oh.
Now, so when I left, I only had 6 more months at Motown. So
Mm-hmm.
when I left Motown, I was red hot. I had gold records on Diana Ross and Jackson 5 and all of that. And I got an attorney. And when I got that attorney, he was the former, a former attorney from Motown who's starting his own practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, would you represent me? Because he was really good. He said, sure. He said, now let me tell you this. I'm your attorney now, Clay. So I'm going to tell you. He said, I'm the one that was structuring the deal, your deal, but your attorney was asking for too much money, Clay. He said it was a good deal. He said, I wouldn't lie to you because I'm now your attorney. Okay, I believed him. He got me a good deal with someone else. Everything went well. I always wondered what would it have been like if I'd gotten that Motown deal. The Lord took care of that one. About
Wow,
a
that's
few
wow.
years ago, you've heard of Unsung?
Yes, uh-huh. Yes.
Okay, you know what the deal is. They're talking about how they were done wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Silvers, you remember them, the Silvers were on, and they're talking about they were making all that money, but they didn't get making all those hits, but they weren't getting the money.
Ooh.
So they got an attorney to look at the contract that their attorney had them to sign. It turned out that he had structured that contract so he would get most of their money. And then
Ooh.
they mentioned the name of that attorney. And it was the one that I used when I was negotiating with Motown for my deal.
Oh
If I
no.
had signed that contract, I wouldn't have made any money. I'd be saying the same
Wow.
thing those folks did. So if
Oh,
you get an attorney, you need to sign. You've got a deal now, but before you sign it, get another attorney to make sure that attorney is instructing you so that your money is going into his pockets.
ooh, this is ooh.
There are sharks in the water, girl. There are sharks in the water. There are sharks in the water.
So okay, just give me the real here. Okay, so I heard that a publishing deal is better than signing on, like if you're a singer, because that's what I was looking into. So like a publishing deal is better than just like just signing a regular contract. Is that true?
You say versus signing a contract with a record label,
Well,
a
yes, with a record.
because you got a publishing company
Mhm.
is different than a record company.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
so um, if you can just begin to sing for a record label, of course, but
Okay.
let me start here. Let me start here. If you want to sign with the record label, you don't go there begging.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, because you're not going to get a deal. What they're looking for is how many Facebook friends you have, how many Twitter,
Mhm.
how many Instagram, how many LinkedIn,
Mm.
because before you just came in and you didn't have to do nothing but sing. Now you got to market yourself before you
Mm.
get there and tell them, well, I've got 1 million followers. Okay, that'll translate into money. Okay, we'll sign you a deal.
Oh.
But when you sign with them, they have now, this didn't happen when I was coming out. They have the
Uh-huh.
360 deal. That simply means that no matter what you do after you sign with them, if you work at Walmart or wherever, they want a part of your money. So if you see all of them with the clothing and the perfumes and all of that, 360 deal, the record company is getting a lot of that money.
Oh, okay. That's not okay.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So that's the record company. For publishing, that means you've written a song,
Uh-huh.
and the publisher is usually the person that shops your song so other singers could record your song. But
Okay.
and to have publishing, let me help you to understand publishing.
Mhm.
Okay. The Harry Fox agency is the middleman between you and the record label. Let me tell you how it works. The record label's supposed to sell units of
Oh.
records, used to be physical. Okay. And then they have to submit that information to Harry Fox Agency to
Okay.
say we sold 1 million units at a certain 99 cent each. Okay. All right, now, so Harry Fox Agency will take 3% of that money that's coming to you, that's coming to the publisher for doing business, for getting, to making sure the record label pays you. Okay, so now they get 3%. So now there's 97% of it left, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the publisher, let's say you're signed to a publisher. So the record label pays Harry Fox Agency, the go-between, and then Harry Fox Agency pays the publisher. The publisher will take out his money.
Okay.
And then, so look at a funnel. The big end is the record label, right?
Yeah.
And then comes the publisher. It's getting smaller, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there comes the writer or writers. If it's just one writer, you'll be down here about like that. But if it's several writers, there's a lot of slices in that cake or that pie by the time you get your money. And then the federal government's going to get their share too.
Oh, man, it's rough out here.
And you got to pay for your wardrobe, all of the stuff, because the record label's not paying for that anymore. You have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way the artists make their money, you will make your money, is on tours.
Oh, so that's where the big bucks are.
That's where the money comes in. So I think Rihanna makes about 9 million a tour, and somebody makes 13 million. I think Taylor Swift, well, that's a lot on their tour. Now, so there's a lot more to it. So, and the record label's gonna want a piece of that action too. And your attorney usually wants 15 to 25% of your deal and whatever other money you make.
Oh man. This is a tight fight. It's a tight fight.
And there's, like I said, there's sharks in the water. And you just got to be careful that you don't get bitten too many times, because you will get bitten.
Okay, so that's just kind of like going in, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. If you go into water and there's sharks there, one of them's gonna bite you, at least one.
Okay. I think that's good to know though, because I think, a lot of people, they just don't, all the ins and outs, they just see the final product. Oh, I want to be there. But it's just like, it's so many more layers to that. And that is just, unless you talk to somebody who really knows, you don't know. You know what I mean? So that's really, really interesting. Like super interesting.
Yeah, but the average person out there, they got say, I make beats. Yeah, that ain't a song. Clay, I got a song. I just need you to do the words and the melody. Well, wait a minute. That's the song. And you handed me some beats? Nobody walks down the street selling beats. Nobody walks down the street singing beats. You don't sing beats. You sing the melody of the song.
Always.
And the hardest work is writing a melody that's memorable and writing the lyrics that have some kind of meaning.
Yep.
That's hard.
It is. When you sing it, it's just like, oh yeah, this is like ingenious, like, you know what I mean? But then like, I can only imagine like how it is, because I've tried to just sit down and just do things on my own. Like, it's not easy. Like it's so, I think that with songwriting, they're not given enough credit because it's just, that is that's difficult. You know what I mean? So wow, yeah, thank you for sharing that because I just don't think people think that far into how much work really goes into creating a hit, especially. So yeah. Well,
any more questions? I got some answers for you. If you want to get in your career, ask now.
So technically we have to end the show, but if you are willing to answer just a couple more questions I have afterwards,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, I do want to appreciate.
I want to help you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and with Where Are They Now? And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Okay, so as soon as we are off, I do have some questions for you. I don't want to take too much of your evening, but
it's okay. It's okay.
yeah, okay, so since we're off the air, what does it take to really just like, because it's different than it was back then, like where you could actually go in, like their security or whatever else, what does it really take to kind of like make your, just put your,